thanks for taking the time. I think you've just come out of a rehearsal, haven't you, for
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Glastonbury Festival, which is
Yeah, go off there tomorrow.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to
Excited. Oh my god, I'm buzzing. I can't wait to see Paul McCartney. I never lose my shit.
that? Because it's been a while, hasn't it? Have you been? Have you played it before?
Never played it before. I've been as a punter in like 2019, but since then, yeah, haven't been.
Because you're in Bristol, aren't you? Well, you live in Bristol.
Yes. Yeah, so that's right.
Bristol and Glastonbury have always had fairly strong connections, haven't they?
Big time. Yeah, it's pretty heavenly that like I get to just drive there tomorrow and it takes like 45 minutes and it's just like really easy. Yeah, nice. So I feel very spoiled.
Because you've got the new album coming out in next month on Heavenly, which is your second album. And I was just looking at some notes regarding Float, which is one of the songs that you've released. Well, you wrote this track, it says, with Oliver Wilde. Yes. I don't know who that is, but he's something to do with the Bristol music community.
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time. He's a big legend. He's like the most prolific songwriter I know. Yeah. And a very, very talented man, yes.
And the track also features Black Midi's Morgan Simpson on drums.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. It does. Yeah, I know, it's so funny.
Yeah.
It was so fun having him come in. Me and Morgan like met through music, and then he was a fan of my songs, and I was like, it'd be really cool to see what he could do for the tracks. And we're such like polar opposite music wise, but I thought it'd be a really fun thing to do, and he was really up for it. So yeah, he kind of came down and we just jammed out for a bit, and then I just was like, these 3 songs could do with some really interesting percussion, and yeah, he just absolutely smashed it, and it was just such a pleasure to work with him. And yeah, no, I would love to work with him again. It was, yeah, it's just it's been so wonderful how eclectic these collaborations have been, and I'm glad I haven't just like stuck with like working with like, I don't know, like folk or pop artists, and I kind of, I really want to make sure I was working with people that like were out of my realm, that would bring something and inspire me, I guess.
There's an eclecticism to your music from what I've heard of this album, and also the people that you're working with, including the production side, because obviously Dan Carey's involved in this, isn't he, to an extent? Yeah. Dan Carey, well known as a producer of K, Tempest, and Lord knows how many other people, just millions.
He is such a busy man.
Yeah.
He is always in there tinkling away. I have so much admiration for his work ethic.
Yeah. So it also says that it was co-produced by Ali Chant of Yard Act. And so in terms of co-production, how does that work? Do they sort of do some tracks each, or how does that work?
Exactly. So basically there was 4 or 5 songs that I started working with Ali, and then there was 4 or 5 songs that I wrote in the studio with Dan, and then because I wrote them with Dan, I was like, it'd be really nice for him to produce them. I was obviously like a bit nervous about how it was going to work, and I wanted to make sure that it still felt cohesive, so I was a bit like, oh god, like, is this a really bad idea? But actually I'm so happy I did it, because it's really nice to have this mixture of sonic palettes that I could kind of meld together into the new record. And yeah, it was just really fun to have 2 different people who have quite different production styles work together. And Talk of Town, Ali produced, and then Dan mixed it, and then it was all they worked well together. They no one got miffed, so that was good.
Yeah, you seem to be really spreading your wings quite a lot. I mean, you did some vocals with Orlando Weeks recently. Orlando Weeks of Maccabees, of course.
Yeah.
Maccabees fame, and then you were worked a bit with Yard Act as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just seem to be up for it. Yeah. With people you admire, obviously, people you want to.
Yeah, they're people that I want to work with. But obviously, like, I look back at what I've done so far. It's one of those things where like I love doing it, but I'm also cautious that I don't want to turn into like fucking, sorry, excuse my language, like Chris Martin at Glastonbury, when Chris Martin at Glastonbury, when he like turned up for like 6 or 7 sets at Glastonbury, and everyone was like, Chris, go away. And like, I got really paranoid. I was like, because a lot of bands that I collaborate with are playing at Glastonbury, and a lot of them were like asking me to sing with them, and I was like, I don't want to be that person that's like on every stage. Like, that'd be so cringe. Luckily I'm just doing like my set and then Orlando's. But yeah, I want to be cautious about what I do next, because I've been very flattered that people really I've just done work with Metronomy on a remix for them. So like, I've got all these peers I admire like asking for my vocals and stuff, so it's really exciting. But like, I have to think about like, what's the right thing to do and not be too much like everywhere.
And obviously the album is the big thing for you, because that's well, it's a big thing, isn't it? Second album, and on Heavenly Records. And the 3 tracks that I've heard so far, the ones that have been released: Take Back the Radio, Alligator, and Float.
Oh, Take Back the Radio is from the first record.
Oh, sorry, not Take Back the Radio. I meant Talk Over Town.
Talk Over Town. Yeah. They have very similar T's. They got many T's in them, so I understand why.
Thank you for being understanding. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and they're all very different, disparate, but obviously underpinned by your voice, which is a fairly distinct kind of voice, I guess, in many ways.
It's a squeaky voice. It's a squeaky voice. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's a Marmite voice I've got.
Well, I mean, obviously you're comfortable with it. I take it, or I hope, or at least you're working.
No, I'm like, that's what's coming out of my vocal cords, so I'm gonna just run with it. I'm like, that's me.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some people don't like it, some people do, and I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. So,
well, there's people in the past, like people who probably take that to the extreme, like Cyndi Lauper and stuff like that. It's you either love it or you
squeakiness works.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. And the Alligator song is something that's really amazing. I love that song.
Thank you.
Incredible song. That amazing bass sort of line that goes with a good groove. Just everything about it is just really good. Can you tell me a bit about that?
So I wrote that one with Dan Carey like maybe a year ago, and on the day that we wrote it, I was just not feeling great, and like I just been, when you don't you haven't put in your smart meter readings, and so that when you move house they absolutely sting you with like a huge bill. And I was like really skint at the time, and then I got this like £500 bill through from Eon, and I was just like freaking out. I was like in London, had no money, couldn't afford my lunch. I was like, oh god. I got to the studio and just like had a meltdown and like burst into tears, and Dan was like, oh my god, what's wrong? And I was like, Eon bill, I got Eon bill. And then he was like, right, let's calm down. And I was like, yeah. He was like really sweet. And then it's really hard when you're like going into a studio to be vulnerable, but you're also feeling really shit. Like it's really, you want to be like professional, but we're all just human. So I was like, got my cry out the way, and then I was like, right, let's get on with some writing. And then it just kind of straight away came out, like, all these kind of anxiety things you can think about. And I mean, 10-foot wave, I've got a phobia of tsunamis, so whenever I go to the seaside, even though I love the sea, I always think, right, when's the tsunami going to come? It was just a really enjoyable song to write. And like at the beginning, we had the verse intro, the da, 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 and I was like, oh, this feels really shit. I was like, I don't like it. And Dan was like, no, let's keep working on it. And I was like, I can get really quite distracted quite easily, so if I'm not fully like invested, I just like bin something. And he was like, let's not bin it. And I was like, all right. And then we got the chorus, and then I was like, okay, hang on, this is quite good, I think, maybe. And then we just bung loads of stuff on it, and then at the end of the day we like listened out the monitors, and I was like, we got a single. I was like, we got one. I was like, thank God. Well,
that's what producers are for, aren't they, sometimes?
Oh, big time. I'm glad he pushed me, because I love playing Alligator live as well, and it's like it was a song that was missing from the record, so I'm thank God we found it.
And why is it called Alligator?
That first lyric, Alligator. It goes alligator, but I couldn't really think of anything else to call it, and I just liked it being called Alligator, so I was like, that will do. I'm with my lyrics, with my name, my song titles, you can sound quite lazy with it. I mean, I do still care about what I'm calling them, but some songs just a simple one word.
You've obviously got some festivals and some in-store record events, or actually it's more of a bigger thing, isn't it? In the one in Brighton, I think, in Resident Records, I think you were doing it.
That's really fun. I'm looking forward to that. That's like the day after the album comes out.
And then you're doing a number of festivals, Green Man and Beautiful Days, which is a lovely, slightly different kind of vibe to.
It is. A bit more family, very family vibes, but I'm looking forward to it. My parents just moved to Devon. Well, they're moving in like 6 weeks, so they'll be right around the corner. So after Green Man, I get to go play that festival and go see them. So it's actually really nice. I'm looking forward to that.
And then you're doing some days with Pavement, which is going to be quite interesting.
I was trying, like, when I found out, I was like, I had to buy my tongue. I couldn't tell anyone, and I was like, oh my god. So I absolutely adore Pavement. And so the fact that I get to do 4 shows with them in Europe, like, I get to see them play every night, it's just gonna be like the most surreal thing ever. I'm so excited.
Thanks very much for taking the time, and
my pleasure, mate. All right,
enjoy Glastonbury. Bye. Bye.
So long, farewell, bye bye.